Hey y'all, welcome back to Porch Cooking and Reminiscing. I'm Roger, and as always, I'm so glad to have y'all here with us today. Guys, today we're going to be making a old forgotten Appalachian recipe. Now, back when I was a kid, I saw my grandma make this recipe many times, but it's so forgotten that it's probably been 50 or more years since the last time I had it. And I had just totally forgotten about it. But here a few days ago, I was looking through an old cookbook and I saw a recipe that was kind of similar to what Grandma made, but not exactly. It brought back that memory to me of Grandma making this. And now, this recipe was made back in the days when things really got tight. And I'll give you a little more history on the recipe as we go along. But when Grandma made it, when I was a kid, it wasn't because times were tight. It was just simply because Grandpa liked it. So the recipe we're going to make today is called egg gravy. And we're going to make us some big old Cathead biscuits to go along with it too. And now we've got a video on Cathead biscuits, and I'll leave you that link in the description for my Cathead biscuits. You can go watch that video and get the recipe to make that. So y'all stick in there and pull you up a chair, sit back and relax, and we're going to get to making this egg gravy.
Yeah. Porch boards sway in a slow rhythm. Got the screen door sighing a low hum. That old wood stove is cooking something good. Smell of bacon filling up the neighborhood.
So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our Cathead biscuits, because that's going to take the longest to do. So we've got our biscuit doughs ready. I got me a cast iron skillet here that I've buttered the bottom of it and swished the butter all around inside it. So we're ready to make our Cathead biscuits. Now the way we're going to do that is we're just going to use a spoon, and we're going to just get us a big old bunch of dough on our spoon. We're going to just plop it right in to the skillet. And then you're going to use your spoon and your finger just to kind of form your biscuits. And now you want them to be pretty big, because there's a reason they call them Cathead biscuits. So just get you big spoonfuls like this and put them in there, and you want them to be touching, because that's one of the things that's going to make your biscuits rise up, is if they're touching each other. Now you can pat these out, use your hand and just pat them out. That's totally up to you if you want to do it that way. And it'll make a prettier biscuit, but again, these are Cathead biscuits, so they ain't supposed to be the prettiest ones in the bunch. And we'll put our last one right there in the center. So we got them in the pan, and this is what they look like right now. Now I'm going to show you how to smooth them out a little bit. Now, if you want to smooth them out where they'll be a little bit prettier, put you just a little bit of oil in the bottom of your bowl here. Get you some on the end of your spoon, and then you can just kind of press them out a little bit with the spoon. And like I say, that'll keep you from getting dough all over your hands, and you can kind of press them out a little bit, make them look a little prettier if that's what you want. If you don't care whether they're pretty or not, don't worry about it. Don't have to do it. And this won't affect the way they cook or anything. So there's our pan of Cathead biscuits. We mashed them out a little bit so they'll be prettier. Show you what that looks like now. So as you can see, we've kind of mashed them out a little. And so we're going to go into this oven and get these puppies baking. All right, we're going to let those cook for just a little bit before we start making the gravy, because the gravy comes together pretty quick. Our biscuits have been in the oven, and I just took them out and rubbed them down with some butter on the tops, put them back in, and so now we're ready to get started on making our egg gravy. So the first thing that we're going to do is we've got about 3 tablespoons of bacon grease in this cast iron skillet, and we're going to pour 3 large eggs into this. And we're going to let them start cooking until the whites set up a little bit on them. And then once the whites set up a little bit, we're going to scramble them up just like we were doing scrambled eggs. And once these eggs are ready to be scrambled, I'll get that done, and then we'll put the flour in and we'll start making gravy. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to bust these eggs up and start scrambling them. Because we want that white. That's the thing about egg gravy, is you want that white in there. I remember this being so good when my grandma would make it. These eggs are going to pick up the flavor of that bacon grease. And you just want to chop your eggs up a little bit where that you've got some that are in big pieces and some that are in little pieces. Now we're going to come in with just a little bit less than a 1/4 cup of flour. Alright, and we're going to just stir that flour in. Now you want to let your flour cook a little bit, because if you don't, it's going to just taste like flour, and we don't want it to just taste like flour. Alright, so we've let our flour cook a little bit, and we've added some salt and pepper to it. And so now we're going to come in. We've got a cup of milk and a cup of water here. And so we're just going to slowly start to add that in. And we're going to stop right there, and we're going to let it thicken up, and then we're going to add some more of the water and milk mixture to it. And you may have to add some more. 2 cups may not be enough. It just depends on what your flour and oil ratio is. It's looking exactly like it's supposed to look. And our biscuits ought to be getting pretty close to being done too. Well, they still could brown just a little bit more. All right, I believe we can add the rest of that milk in. And now we're just going to let that sit there and simmer until it thickens back up really nicely. And by the time that does that, our biscuits ought to be ready. In the comments, if y'all have ever had egg gravy like this, let me know. Because like I say, this is a recipe my grandma used to make, and I had totally forgotten about it. Alright, we're going to just go ahead and cut it off and just let it sit here and continue to thicken. Oh guys, this smells so good. So as I said, I was going to give you a little history on this style of egg gravy. So here's what the research I did came up with. It says this specific style of egg gravy came out of pure necessity. Back in the day, hogs were slaughtered in the late fall. By the time late spring and summer rolled around, the smokehouse was running low and fresh meat was a luxury. But what did folks have an abundance of? Eggs. Springtime meant the hens were laying up a storm. To feed a big family, resourceful mountain cooks took whatever precious leftover bacon or pork grease they had stored in the grease tin, which that's something my mom always kept a grease tin on the stove, and it had a little strainer in the top, and you just poured your grease out of your skillet into the top of it, and then it strained it down into the bottom. And then when you needed some bacon grease, you just went in there and got you a big spoonful. They stored it in the grease tin, then they fried up a couple of eggs, scrambled them up, and then used flour and milk to stretch those few eggs into a massive rib sticking meal. The flour coated the egg bits, locking in the flavor and doubling the volume of the protein. It transformed eggs into a breakfast that could feed 6 hungry people. It's a beautiful piece of our heritage, born out of the lean months of the farming cycle, perfected by grandmas who knew how to make something out of nothing. So there's a little history on where egg gravy came from. So here's a couple of these big Cathead biscuits. Like I said, they're not the prettiest biscuits in the world, but pretty ain't everything. We want them to be good and tasty. I'm trying to get them broke apart here, but they are so hot. There's a couple of them pulled apart there. And now we're going to spread us some gravy over top of these babies. And like I say, this gravy, after it sets, it thickens up a little bit. So if you don't like thick gravy, just take you some more water or some more milk and just pour you some over top of it. But that looks so good. All right. And there we go. Let's add a little sprinkling of pepper to it. And there's our egg gravy and Cathead biscuits. And guys, what I remember tasting when Grandma made it, this stuff is out of this world. So I'm going to give it just a minute to cool off just a little bit, because you can see the smoke still going off of it. And once it cools down just a little bit, we're going to give it a taste. This is still smoking, but I just really can't wait any longer before I taste it. So we're going to blow on it for just a minute, then we'll taste it. All right, here goes. Probably going to burn my mouth, but I think it's going to be worth it. Y'all, those buttermilk Cathead biscuits, they're delicious. The egg gravy tastes just like it did when my grandma made it. This is so good. Again, it's another one of those recipes I'm kind of lost for words as to how good it is. But this is a great breakfast. You can make it for brunch. You can make it for dinner. It's however you want to make it. But I do recommend you try this recipe. Like I say, I hadn't thought about it. I had totally forgotten it. But this brings back so many memories of sitting in my grandma's kitchen and eating a plate of biscuits and egg gravy. So guys, make this for your family. Share it with your friends. They're going to love you for it, I promise you. And if you haven't already, remember, hit that like and subscribe button. Click on the bell. We appreciate it. And as always, we appreciate y'all being here with us and watching our videos. And guys, I'm going to sit down and enjoy my Cathead biscuits and egg gravy. So we'll see you here again in a few days. Y'all have a great one.